Okay, go ahead.
Right, before the war, the house was just down there. It was a proper house, not a bungalow. It had 2 stories. It was the vicarage for this church.
Okay.
During the war, German bomber, obviously been bombing Swansea or Pembroke, and being chased by a British fighter, decided to drop its load in an attempt to make it lighter
Okay.
to get away. And one of the bombs
Hello.
hit that house.
Oh.
And the woman who was evacuated from London was killed. The woman who was evacuated from London was killed.
Oh.
So she'd come here to escape the bombing and ended up dying because of a German bomb.
Oh my goodness. Fate, huh?
Fate, yeah.
Wow.
And the other story about this church is,
Okay.
in the village there's another church called St Thomas's. And the money for the original St Thomas's was built by 2 men, or came from 2 men called Picton. One was Sir Thomas Picton and one was his brother, the Reverend Edward Picton. Now they lived in a very big house at the other end of the village called Isfael. Sir Thomas Picton had been governor of Trinidad, and when he was governor of Trinidad he was convicted and imprisoned for torturing what they described there as a mulatto girl. She was half black,
Yeah.
slave and a white man. He appealed and admitted what he'd done. He admitted what he'd done, but denied that it was an offence because Trinidad at that time was still under Spanish law, and the torture involved was called picketing, which under Spanish law wasn't considered to be cruel, and he was acquitted on a technicality.
Wow.
He then went on to become the most high-ranking British or any military officer killed at Waterloo. He died at Waterloo, but after he died, his slaves out in Trinidad
Yeah.
were passed on to his brother, the Reverend Edward Picton. I think it was in 1837. Got enough space for this?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, in 1837, I think it was 1837, there was a commission to pay compensation to the slave owners,
Okay.
and he was paid out for the loss of his slaves by the commission when slavery became unlawful
Right.
on British colonies. Because transportation had finished in 1707, but it was later on that slavery itself became outlawed.
Oh, that's crazy. So
Yeah.
how do you know all this?
I
Are you a historian?
No, I look it up. No, there was a very interesting programme on the BBC.
Yeah.
And it was about research done by University College London about the compensation paid to slave owners.
It's crazy, right?
And what it did was this. They know exactly who owned the slaves in this country, and it was throughout the country, and who owned what,
Yeah.
or who owned whom. Because to get their compensation, they had to provide an inventory of their slaves and where they were. And if you go online, put in UCL slavery or University College London slavery,
Okay.
and it's on there, and you can look up by village, by town, by name, and you can see who was involved.
Wow. Well, thank you.
And what happened after that was, I think it was 1837 they were paid out. Of course, that was the start of the railway boom, and a lot of the people who were paid out put their money into the railways. Now this railway came here in 1853,
Yeah.
so money was invested in the railways, so a lot of the railway expansion went on as a result of compensation paid to slave owners.
Wow. Just thinking about it makes me tingle.
Yeah, well, that's right. It seems incredible now, but that's the way it was.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow. Well, thank you. What's your name?
My name is Creighton Harvey.
Creighton. Thank you so much. I
I
appreciate
haven't
it.
got any more stories, that's it.
No, that's good.
You've exhausted me now.